All right, guys. Adam Maabdi. How are you, Adam?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you for being with us today, Adam. Just to start right away, can you just so what we're gonna do? We're gonna ask you to tell us about your background as a player and also what you're doing now, and then we'll go from there, and we'll just talk about. We're gonna focus on you as a young player, okay? Well, everything that you went through, especially mentally, because this is the goal of this show is to help young players to improve, to get the information from players who went through the same path, and to see what they can do better. Because, like I told you before, I believe that the mental aspect is what's going to make a difference if you have ambition and if you want to exploit your full potential. So, can you tell us, give us a little bit of context and tell us where you started playing, why you started playing, and all the clubs that you did?
All right. So I am Adam Maabdi. I'm 30 years old. I've started playing when I was 5 years old. I remember I've been watching the '94 World Cup in America on TV, and since then, I just asked my mom if I could play football. So I started playing in a small club in a small village where everyone starts at the beginning, and I think I was over everyone. I was already playing with older player. I was like 5 or 6, and I was playing with 7, 8 years old players. So from there, I knew I was like really happy playing football, and I always wanted to be playing with overage players. I was such competitor when I was even 8 years old. I remember crying when I was losing games. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to score the most goals.
And sorry, let me just cut you right here. When you were saying you were always wanted to play with bigger players, you never had fear in you when you were
No,
playing with
no,
older players?
no, never. I was very short. I was small, and all I wanted it was to go hard on taller players. I was never scared about that. And so from there, my coach say, "All right, you're gonna stay here for a little bit, and then let's see if you can go to another team." So at 13 years old, I've been to another club, was a bigger club in my area, but it was not professional. It wasn't a professional club called Cambrai. And then I started playing on under 13. And from there, I realized I was just an average player. I was just good in my team. That's it. I never play with average players. But uh, I went to a school where I could play football and go to school at the same time. And I was sleeping over there as well. I think around age of 17, my club have been promoted to a division where all the professional teams were playing. So I decided to quit my school and go back to my mom so I could practice every day. Still, we were not professional, but we were practicing every day. So I had to stay at school all day long, and then go to practice at night, and then go far away to play games on the weekend. So it
Mhm.
was I was really tired, and the schedule was not made for me. So I was really really tired. And at that time, I just decided, all right, just go for it, play football as much as you can, and forget about school. So I had to pass my bachelor, baccalaureate, and I missed it. I was, definitely, I was, I think 6 on 20 or something at the end of the year. I was so bad. And the next year, I had to go back to school and pass it again. So I lost 1 year of school because I wanted to play football. And I think it has been a mistake. It was not a good choice to focus just on football if I was not in a professional club. So I think it was my first mistake. But at that time, I was really, really short. I was really small, the smallest guy in my team. and I had few professional club who came to me and asked me if I wanted to join the club. So I had to do some tryouts. Uh, I've been to Lens, to Lille, to Nantes, even once, but I was so small and it never happened. From there, I went to university where I decided to keep playing football in an amateur level. I was just getting paid a few euros per month. It was nothing much. And I was going to school because my mom always wanted me to go to school and get a diploma. So I did it, and I was not happy at all because I didn't know what to do between playing football and studying. What I was studying at that time was not what I want to do, so I was there, but I was not really happy. And I realized I could go to America and get a scholarship to be a student athlete. So at that time, I was one of the first French guy who've been there. And after a long process, I got my visa, I got my scholarship, and I knew I was going to play football for San Francisco College. So I got the feeling we talked about earlier. I was in the flight and I knew all my family was crying, and I couldn't cry because I was so happy to go on the flight and to go in America, to go in New York, where it was like a dream for everyone. And and also I realized it could be another chance for me to try to be a professional, because before that I knew I was not making it in Europe. In France, it's really hard. You have to be strong. So I knew I would never make it in France, and probably I could have more chance in America back in the days. So I've been there. And when I arrived in America, I was so lost. I couldn't speak any English. Um, I was by myself in a big country with a new culture, a new economy, and it was really hard at the beginning just to understand other people and to tell them what I was feeling and what I was thinking. But on the other side, I was thinking that the only way why I am here is to play football. So let's forget about English and just keep playing. So I always have been good to adapt myself to any situation. So at the beginning, I realized I was like a good player for the division I was playing for. So I just went through the years and keep playing, thinking that I might have a chance to be professional at the end of my diploma, my bachelor. And at the same time, I was really happy and proud to study and get my bachelor, because I knew my mom was um, she always have been scared that I just keep playing and I don't get any diploma, any bachelor. So I also made it for her, my business degree, and I didn't get drafted. I was on the draft list, but it never happened. So back in the days, I wanted to stay in New York and just work, get a job, and at the same time, I got an opportunity to go in England. So that's where a rich guy called me and said he wanted to make a tryout in Oxford. It's like an hour from London. It was really hard for me to go there and just say, let's take a flight and make a 1 week tryout, because I didn't know if I was making it or not. So I still did it because my dream always have been to be professional. So I was there for 1 week, came back home, and they offered me a contract. It was not professional, it was semi-professional contract. So I was like, this is my last chance to make it. So let's try, and then we'll see from there. I was not happy at all. I was going to practice, but with a bad mind. And at the same time, I was not getting paid from the club. So, when you're not happy during the day, you're not going to be able to play football and have like a free mind, to be confident and to play well on the field. And after 3 months, I never get paid. So I just took a bus and went back to France. And from there, I just keep playing football on average team, get semi-professional contracts, and work on some little jobs to get some money on the side. And around 28 years old, I just decided to go back to school, get my master in sport business, because I knew I wanted to work hard in the sports business industry, and even more in the football industry. And for me, it was a new start. And I knew I wanted to work in that industry. So I gave everything I could to go back to school, even at 28 years old. And that's what happened.
That is quite a travel story, and
Yeah, a lot of
it's
travel.
amazing. Can we just go back to the youth, to where you were? So you said you were very small kids and you were never taken into the pro academies. Was it how was it for you mentally when every time you would go and somebody would say no? So were they saying you're not good enough? Were they saying straight, okay, you can't make it? Were they saying you're too small? So obviously it's very difficult. But what did you do to bounce back and then keep on going after this? Because after a while, you must get you know, it must get tough on you, and you want to give up. So what makes you keep on pushing?
I remember when, until 13 years old, I was, in my mind, I was the best. So for me, I was really confident. And then when I got in that academy where other players were good as well, I started feeling that I was just an average player.
Hmm.
So I lost some confidence. And I always been someone who is really stressed and got some anxiety. So I was really nervous about, wow, I'm in a new world and I'm not the best anymore, and how I'm gonna handle that. And I'm not at my house, I am by myself, so I have to be better than them anyway.
Hmm.
And also at that time, I was the smallest player in the team. So of the field, I was very, very shy. And on the field, I was trying the best to show that even a small player can be better than a big player. And I was in the generation where big players were always signing contracts, and they had more chance to be professional than small players. So there were a lot of players coming from Africa. They were like so big, and they had
Hmm.
already the muscles, and I was too skinny and too small. But technically, I was good enough to be different and to be on the field. So I was, let's try to play on your technical skills, and tactically I was always good. So I was thinking that I might have a chance that way. But when it comes to get inside academies, and when you have the chance to compare yourself to big players, when you go to try out in
Hmm.
Nantes or Lille or Lens, definitely I realized that I will never make it, because they were always picking big players, and small players, even good, um, they will never get picked to get in the academy. And mentally, it affected me a lot, because I realized that if I stay skinny and small that way, I will never make it. So mentally, it affected me until I was 17. And at 17 years old, I got so tall in like one summer. I got, in I think 2 or 3 months, I got from the from the smallest guy in the class or in the team to the biggest guy. I mean,
Yeah.
the tallest guy in my team. So my confidence came back.
Hmm.
And at 17 and 18 years old, I was just crazy on the field. I got faster. I was taller. I could go harder on players, and I, I still kept my technical skills. So I could make the difference that way. And from there, I got better confidence
So your confidence came from your body for you.
from my body shape. Yeah,
You was once you start feeling strong, you start feeling better in your head, so you play better. Um, okay.
When I was, I think, 14 or 15, the doctor was scared that I was so small that they were thinking, and they talked to my mom about that. They were thinking about giving me some pills to be
Mm-hmm.
faster and to be taller. Sorry. And at that time, my mom was scared that it could affect my body and my skin and all stuff.
Yeah.
So we didn't do it, and I think it's a good choice because you have to be who you are, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to force yourself to do something. And if you look at Messi, Messi always has been
That's
small.
it.
That's it. So I think it was a really good choice for my mom, and I am happy that I didn't take those pills. And there's other things that I always have been living with my mom. So mentally, I was like, I think I got stronger from other players because of my lifestyle. I was with my mom by myself, um, with no dad and with not a lot of money and stuff like that. So mentally, I was like stronger, and I think it helped me to go on the field and play hard and say, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not scared of anything and I'm just going to kill everyone on the field, even if I am small. And I think that part of my life from when I born to that time, I realized I had to fight with bigger players. I think that spirit came from my life.
Mm-hmm. And that's also why I think France has one of the best players and one of the best because you look at all the players coming from um, tough backgrounds. You put this on the field, and that's where you get a little extra from that too. And this is one of the problems here in America is that you have to pay $2,000 to pay 1 year of football. Where in France, it's up to anybody; it's free.
Yeah,
So you play, and anybody can make it. And it's also a lot of players like you have Ribéry, you have all of them who just came out. Their goal is to be a football player not only for them but also to take the family another level. And I think that's one of the problems that the USA has as well right now. But this is for another debate. I want to stay on your mental abilities to bounce back. So when you went to St. Francis, when you went to New York, so you still had this dream of playing professional, and so you get in a team where now you are one of the best players. So you have this dream who's coming back to you and gives you another boost of confidence. And then after that, you get on a drafted list, so you say, oh, maybe it's there. And now it's not happening, and you decide to go to England. When you go to England, you say it's your last chance in your head. You say it's your last chance to play.
yeah. Uh, Um, I think I had a good chance to be drafted, but at that time I was French and we couldn't get any visas to
Mm-hmm.
go to play for MLS. And the MLS players were coming from big countries and they were like Thierry Henry and I think it was David Villa and
Yeah.
Robbie Keane and big players. So I had few opportunities in USL teams, and I think it was just silly because at that time they were not professionals; they were semi-professionals. They were not paying well, and it was in a small village in the middle of nowhere in America. So
So you just think it's not worth it to do all of this to play
yeah,
there, right?
yeah, I think it was not a good choice to do that. And when this guy came to me and offered me the opportunity to play in England, it was, I don't know, it's not a good thing to say, but he was rich. And in my hand, I was thinking that he was buying a new team. And I
Mm-hmm.
was, all right, in England, the football industry goes so fast. You can go from the sixth division to the first division so quickly. And at the same time, the guy has money, so he was paying for the club. So I was thinking it might be a good choice to play football and get your money back. And from there, you might have a chance to play professional. So I made that choice, and it has been my biggest mistake because
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't realize who this guy was, and I didn't know where I was going to, why I would not be happy in England.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in England, my eyes closed. I was, that's fine, just gonna play football and that's it. And on the field, you have to be different and to be better than the other one. But I was not scared to be better than the other one. I was not scared to fight for to get my spot on the field. But I was not happy during the day. I was not getting paid. I had no money. I had no friends. No one was supporting me over there. When you are in San Francisco, in university, you have your coach. Every day his
Mm-hmm.
office is open. You have you go to the gym with a physical trainer. You have your friends. You have your teammates. You have your even your teacher can help you. But when you are in England, the mentality is completely different. Players
That
are ready to kick your ass at practice, to get on the field on the weekend. And so even at practice, I was not enjoying it. And at the end of the day, if at the end of the month you cannot eat because you don't have any more money on your bank account,
mm-hmm.
then your mind is just focused on this. And I was really mad at the guy. I was really mad that I made the choice. And I think is it's kind of my fault that I did that choice, but at the same time, no one could tell me that. No one could tell me, all right, Adam, don't do that choice. It's gonna be a mistake. You don't know the country, you don't know the club. So I just did it. And if you go back to it, Jamie Vardy was playing in my division back in the days. So
Wow.
so it shows you that it is possible to play in the sixth division in England and 1 year
Mm-hmm.
later to be the striker of Leicester and the striker of England. And and I realized it is possible, but for me, it was not a good choice.
But what's super interesting is that you said because you going to a new country, you're at a younger age, and you adapt yourself quickly. Then you go to another country where this time you speak the language, but you don't adapt yourself. But the only difference in there is that football wise, there's one side where well you are not getting paid, but money is involved, and then it's professional, so you have no support from anybody. Your teammates are not really cool because there's all this fighting for the spot. And then when you play in St. Francis as a student athlete, you have no pressure of playing because you're there anyway. And okay, you have to win the games and but you have another project on the side because you have the school, and it's not this professional world. So there's this whole pressure that's not there. So then mentally you're better everywhere. And I think this is what we were talking about, defining what a successful player is, a successful career is. For everybody is signing professional. But when you realize that when you sign professional and the money start getting involved, you have to lose this passion that you have. There's a way that you lose your passion. There's a way that you lose your confidence because there's more pressure. And I don't know if you saw this article. There's this guy in England who actually was 24 years old. He just signed. He signed professional and he was about to go to Tottenham, a goalkeeper, and he just stopped his career
Yeah,
because he couldn't handle the social media aspect of it.
yeah,
Okay, it's just like so. It shows you how mentally you have to be strong to play professional because you have so many other aspects that you didn't know before. And like I told you before, when I started playing for Valencia and started getting money, when I was 16 years old and I signed my contract and I started getting money, I think that's when my soccer was the worst
worse,
out of
yeah,
all my years. Even if it's nothing, it's just $500 a month, but you have mentally something switches and you just lose pleasure because it becomes a job now.
yeah,
So that's why my problem is right now is trying to define having a successful career. It's not always making it professional, and it's just like trying to see how far your level you can go, and just trying to go from there. It doesn't matter how professional how much money you make from it. And I think it's something that all the young players who are listening, or
yeah.
coaches or parents need to understand is that it's not about making professional. It's about enjoying the sport and getting to your highest level. That's it.
Like you said, on the side, the culture in England was so different from America that was not the culture I was looking for, and that's one thing. But if the on soccer wise I was happy, then I could pass over the culture,
You would have stayed. Yeah.
over the lifestyle. But I was just by myself in a room, sleeping, and no job, no friends, no school. I was mentally going crazy all day long. And then at night, I had to go to practice with players who were not saying hi in the locker room. They were not talking to me because I was French and because they were all English. And it was so hard for me to be in my own bubble. And like you said, I was happier in America with friends, with a good culture, with a city I love, and feeling happy all day long was helping me to be good on the field. But being in England and not being happy all day long was not helping me on the field. And it went worse to worse. And after 3 months, I just gave up because I couldn't handle this world no more. And I was not happy. And I lost the love of playing football, and I lost the passion for it. And I went the wrong way. I went there because I was thinking I could go professional and get money. But playing football is not that. Playing football is keep playing with love, keep playing with passion until football comes to you and pick you to be professional. And it was my mistake, definitely.
But
But
you know, yeah,
you
keep going
realize that like 5 or 6
later.
years
Yeah.
later. You don't realize that when you're 20 years old and you just left by yourself.
But do you know how many players do that though? They just
A lot.
you follow your dream, which what you think is your dream. You follow it until it brings you somewhere. And like you said, you go to countries and you're not getting paid. You by yourself. You don't understand the culture. The people are not the same. But you say, "Oh yeah, I signed professional." You know how many players do this? And it's just sad because it's not the end of it. Signing professional is nothing. It just makes that you're making money out of it, and eventually it can bring you really down when you have no point of going there. No point. If because I believe also that if you're really that good, you will make it pro.
Anyway,
You know? You will make it pro. You can make mistake and then maybe mentally not be strong enough and not make it, but then it means that you don't deserve it because you won't make it there. You won't stay there. So I feel like you can't really force being professional anyway,
well,
and it is
I,
the worst thing to do.
I think to be able to just keep playing and keep the love of playing football and just wait until you get a professional contract and be happy in your career, because some players sign professional and then
For
get
sure.
injured and then they never touch the ground. So I think to be able to do that, you have to be happy yourself, and you have to figure out what gives you the happiness. When you get the happiness, you're gonna be able to feel free and to be confident to play football and play your own football. Play football the way you like to play football. If it is to run fast with the ball, just run fast with the ball. If it is to just score goals, then you're just gonna score goals. And at the same times, I think that when you pass a certain level and a certain age, you need to be how you say, you need to get someone around you uh, to protect you and
Mhm.
to help you to make some choices. And at that time, few agents approached me, but they were not there for they were not there for me. They were there just
Yeah,
for them
of course.
to maybe get some money from me. But I mean, I was not getting professional, so I don't know why. But uh, if it is not an agent, then you need to find someone who can help you to be able to find your happiness and to be able to make good choices to be professional. And even if you're strong, and even if you think you are the strongest man ever, if you're not happy, you're not gonna be able to be good at football. And then even after when you sign a professional contract, or even after when you think that you're there and you achieve your goals, then no, it just starts from there. You need to be good for a long time. You need to be good because you're gonna face better players, or you're gonna be in some difficult situation because you're gonna be injured, or you're gonna face another good player in your own squad, and stuff like that. So you need to be prepared to get all the steps, and I was not at all. I just went through this hall, and then I realized that the football industry was so messed up and was
Yes.
so focused on money. And and not to tell you the real story is that the guy who put me in England now is in prison, because he's in prison for 12 years because what he did back in the days with me and other players, and the club he was the president of. He did some credit thing about the money, and so now he's in Florida,
Wow.
like 12 years prison. And this, so I left England in October, I think, and in April, the next April, he was getting judged, and he went to prison. So it shows you how the football industry is so tough, and so hard for a player who just want to play football. But on the side, the economy and the money can be really difficult for the players as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So you really have to think if you want to be professional. Not only you have to do everything to get there, but you also need to be able to surround you with good people and surround you with people who know, and also be ready mentally to do like to take strong stance. But that we're almost done. I'm just gonna ask you a few more questions and just try to answer quickly. Okay, just three questions. I'll ask everybody. Tell me the best moment on the soccer field.
All right. I was 5 years old, and that the first practice I made, and I had practice I think at 10 in the morning, and my mom had to pick me up at 12, uh, and I just decided to stay longer on the field. And at the end of the day, I stay on the field like 7 hours, and my mom picked me up at the practice field, and I was so tired that for the 5 minutes ride, I just fall asleep in the car. I was 5 years old, and now you ask me that, it makes me come back on one thing. It's you have to keep that passion and that love for football. You have to
It's
be a
so
kid the whole that life.
it's so cliche, but that's what it is. Just the fun that you have as a 5-year-old playing. I just as remember I was playing in my yard because I had a big yard with goals. I could play until like 10 at night. I had my mom drag me inside to go to sleep. Those are one of the favorite moments on the field, even if it was just me and a soccer ball. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
When we played in front of like, that's another question. What was the best moment of us when we played together at St. Francis?
Oh wow. Uh, I think it was when we the tough time when we had pre-season, um,
Yeah,
because I
that.
think it's where you get the good team spirit,
Hmm.
and it's so tough. It's so hard, but years later, you remember that the hard time was the good time. And I don't know if you remember, but Coach Cuba told me that with the young players, he's gonna beat the old players on a
Yeah.
game. And I said, if Coach Cuba your team win, then I will do 200 or 300 push-ups. I don't remember. And then he said, no problem. And that day, you guys beat us
We
3-0.
won.
And it
I
tells a
know.
lot about the team spirit. And sometimes you are too confident,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it's not you playing yourself football, it's the group and your team and your squad. And it was hard time but good time.
It comes back to mental again. You're overconfident, you don't play well either. It's all in your head. It's
i
crazy.
was i
That
was back in the days.
that game was amazing. I remember
Yeah.
Friday night with the lights. Phew,
She did.
sick game. Um, what was your worst moment? in football?
Um, it was on San Francisco. The year before you arrived, he was on the spring season games. It was shit because you were practicing sometimes and working out a lot. And we had one game, and I knew I was going to play for the New York Red Bulls on the summer for the summer season. And that time I was playing the game like usual, and I just shoot on the goal, and someone came from behind like crazy, tackle side, and I torn my knee. And from there, I knew I was not gonna be able to practice the first few weeks with the New York Red Bulls, and I
Yeah.
knew I was playing with this machine on my knee.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been injured on the same knee 6 times, the same injury, because I was not ready to go back on the summer season, but I forced it to be able to play with New York Red Bulls, and it was not a good choice. So I think it was the worst time for me.
So that injury. Yeah. And the last question is, what is the one thing that football brought you and that you're so grateful for it? One
Friends,
thing.
friends,
Your friends,
yeah.
all
Because
your
all
best
my
friends.
friends now are friends from football. All of them. All of them.
Do you still have? Do you still talk to your friends from your young club, your younger
Yeah.
clubs?
The one is my osteopath. He's living like 5 minutes away from my apartment, and I started playing with him at 13 years old when I arrived in my new club in Cambrai. Um, all my friends from football, friends from New York, from all around Europe. Even Christopher has his birthday 2 days ago, and sent me a Snapchat, and he was with Jonas, who is a player I play with in New York.
Yeah,
So you see, and today is Victor's birthday.
yeah.
So yeah, I would say definitely friends.
And just for this, all those years of football are just worth it.
Yeah,
Just for all the friends that you have and
because
that you met through football.
even if you play football and you play professional, you're gonna play until what 25, 30 years old, but your friends gonna stay here for all your life. So that's the most important. And
That's
even
it.
for your wedding, you see.
That's it.
Yeah,
Adam, thank you so much.
thanks to you.
We are done. Thank you for this interview. Thank you for your time, and good luck on all your endeavors and your business ideas. And we'll be in touch soon.
Merci, merci.